Good morning, students. Today we are going to start a new topic in physics from chapter 3, that will be linear momentum and Newton's second law of motion. Students, as you know that if two bodies of different masses are moving with the same velocity, then force required to stop the heavier body will be more than the lighter body. Same is the case when two bodies are moving with different velocity, then force required to stop the greater velocity will be more than the body which is moving with the less velocity. So we can say that force required to stop a moving body depends on mass and velocity of the body. In fact, the force required to stop a moving body depends on product of mass and velocity. And it is this product of mass and velocity which is called momentum or linear momentum. We can define momentum is defined as product of mass and velocity, and momentum is denoted by small p. So we can write momentum, that is p is equal to m into v, where mass is m is the mass of the body and v is the velocity of the body. SI unit of momentum is kg meter per second. You can also write this as kg meter per second this way. And CGS unit of momentum is gram centimeter per second, or so this is the SI unit kg meter per second and CGS unit is gram centimeter per second. I hope the momentum is clear to you. Momentum is the product of mass and velocity. Let us now come to change in momentum. Change in momentum. We can express change in momentum by a symbol delta p. Delta indicates small change and p is the momentum. So change in momentum can be written in short using the symbol delta p. This symbol is delta, which means small change. Now, how can we bring about change in momentum in a body? So, change in momentum in a body can be brought either by changing the mass in a body or by changing the velocity of a body. But it is not so easy to bring change in the mass of the body. So, generally we can consider there can be change in velocity of a body. So when the velocity of the body will be changed, automatically there will be change in momentum of a body. Let us see, change in momentum can be equal to mass into change in velocity. Again I have used the symbol delta because there will be change in velocity of a body. So this becomes the formula for finding out the change in momentum of a body. let us try to understand this. We can consider let mass of a body is m and initial velocity is v or u. We can consider the final velocity as v. You know, final velocity will be when there will be change in the velocity of a body. So there will be change in velocity will be equal to v minus u. So we can write change in momentum is equal to m into v minus u, where v minus u means the change in velocity, which I have written in short as this way. So either you can use this formula to find the change in momentum, or you can use this formula to get the change in momentum. So our new topic now will be rate of change of momentum. Rate of change of momentum. So you know that whenever we apply force in a body, there will be change in velocity of a body. And because of this change in the velocity, there will be change in momentum. Now, in order to bring about change in velocity in a body, it does not take place immediately, but it requires some time for the change in the velocity to come. So this what the rate of change of momentum means, that when we apply force on a body for a unit time, there will be change in the momentum. We can write rate of change of momentum is equal to change in momentum divided by time taken. So there will always be some time to bring about change in momentum in a body. So we need to divide it by time. This gives you the rate of change of momentum. And we can also write rate of change of momentum as delta P upon T, which is equal to m v minus u. Change in momentum is due to change in velocity, and change in velocity is final velocity minus initial velocity divided by time. This can also be written as m delta v upon time. So anything you can do. Now if you come to this part, once again we can write rate of change of momentum is equal to m into acceleration, because v minus u upon t means acceleration. Since we know acceleration is equal to v minus u upon t, so we can replace this by a. Further we can write delta p by delta t is equal to, which is rate of change of momentum, is equal to force, because force is equal to mass into acceleration. Now if you come to this expression, you will find we have raised the expression, which is nothing but the expression for the Newton's second law of motion. So let us now see how can we define Newton's second law of motion using this expression. Now coming back to the expression of rate of change of momentum, we can write delta P by T, which is rate of change of momentum is equal to force. This is the expression for Newton's second law of motion, and now we can write the statement of Newton's second law of motion. Second law of motion says that or states that the rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the force applied. Once again, rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the force applied, and the change in momentum takes place in the direction of the applied force. This altogether will become the Newton's second law of motion statement. Once again, rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the force applied, which means to say that when we apply more force, there will be more change in the momentum in a given unit of time. So rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the force applied, and change in momentum takes place in the direction of the applied force. This becomes the statement for Newton's second law of motion. So you can see here the Newton's second law of motion, rate of change of momentum of a body is directly proportional to the force applied, and change in momentum takes place in the direction of the applied force. Now you can stop here till Newton's second law of motion. Tomorrow or the next class we are going to learn something more about Newton's second law of motion. Thank you.